Hello, horror heads, and welcome to the show. October is here. This is our favorite time of year. The Halloween season has officially begun, and we cannot wait to get things started. We got some great stuff coming up. Not only do we have the first movie in our Halloween That's Not Halloween series, but we also, in this episode, picked the winner of our It Funko Pop Pennywise giveaway. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be at the end, and it is going to be fantastic. Now, we have got a special bonus episode coming up where some friends are going to join us, and we're going to be talking about our favorite Halloween things like our must-watch movies, TV specials, and so on. But we want to hear, what are your favorite things to do on Halloween? Do you have certain Halloween rituals, normal or weird, whatever? Let us know, and we will read them out on the show. And we're going to tell you how you can reach us at the end of the episode. Now, with all that said, let's kick off the season right now. My name is Sheldon, and this is The Graveyard Shift. Horror with Sheldon and Mike. Play that scary music. Welcome to episode 18 of the Graveyard Shift Horror Podcast with our first entry of our October theme, Halloween That's Not Halloween Part 1, because each Monday in October we'll be breaking down a movie that takes place during Halloween but is not part of the Halloween/Michael Myers franchise, because despite the fact that we love these movies, almost every horror movie podcast or YouTube channel does Halloween for the first Halloween episode. Man, I'm saying Halloween a lot. And we want to do something different for our first one. And yes, I said we because no one wants to do Halloween alone. Please say hello to my favorite Halloweener, the mad, the maniacal, the some other M word, my co-host Mike.
Hello, everybody.
Mike, happy October to you, my friend. Are you feeling the spirit of the season yet?
Feeling some spirits. Hopefully it's good spirits and not like the type that are gonna like turn the furniture upside down and then, you know, throw me against the wall and just send the Evil Dead rape tree after me.
Well, that'd make for an interesting episode anyway. So we'll see what happens. Well, okay, maybe the first movie of the month is going to help kickstart your Halloween spirits. So why don't you tell everyone which of our 4 movies we're going to be carving up first?
The first one on the chopping block is Trick or Treats.
That is right, Trick or Treats, released on October 29th, 1982, so they were cutting it a little close for the Halloween season.
Because who has plans on October 30th or October 31st?
Yeah, exactly. It's an American slasher film from Lone Star Pictures. Never heard of them? Me neither. It has a runtime of 91 minutes. It had a budget of approximately $55,000 US, making it by far the lowest budget movie we've ever covered on the show.
Wow, and it looks it too.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on how much money it made, so I have heard, though, it may have been even less. There is no critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, but there is an audience score. Mike, you care to guess what it is?
10?
Oh, you're giving this movie way too much credit, my friend. It got a audience score of 7%.
Oh.
And just in case you're still listening to us at this point, as for the plot, a babysitter is stuck watching over a young boy on Halloween night who keeps playing vicious pranks on her. To add to her trouble, the boy's deranged father has escaped from an asylum and is planning on making a visit.
Well, it's an accurate summary.
It's not wrong, that's for sure. So, without going into much details, because, guys, you've been listening to us for a while, I'm pretty sure you didn't start off with this episode, and if you have, stop right now and go back and listen to some older episodes. Just so you know what we're doing, because without going into too much detail, Mike, we're going to talk about what we liked and didn't like in a while. What did you think of this movie?
The less I think about it, the better. What the fuck was this? Was this trying to be a comedy? Because it certainly wasn't really portraying a horror very at all.
I honestly don't know what they were thinking. Like, this is one of the problems with the movie, and like, I know this would be something for a dislikes category, but just to say it like that, we already talked about this. It's like they couldn't decide what type of movie they wanted to make this.
Is it going to be a screwball comedy? Is it going to be like a serial killer movie? Like, you know what a serial killer does, Sheldon? He kills many people.
Yeah, that's usually one of the defining traits.
Yeah, it's hard to kill. It's hard to be a serial killer with one corpse under your belt. That means you're just like a killer.
Yeah, I know some parts of this movie seem like it was a lampoon. They were intentionally trying to be just ridiculous. But honestly, then at some points when I think they're trying to be serious, and it's just not coming off that way. So I think like when I say they're trying to be silly, I honestly think I was giving them way too much credit.
Yeah, that implies intent and planning, and satire and comedy rely on timing and some form of awareness.
Yes. And in case anybody's wondering, the reason why we picked this movie, like I said, for our theme for October, we wanted to go with movies that take place during Halloween, and we found a bunch of movies with Trick or Treat in the title, and this just happened to be the one we wanted to do first. So maybe it'll get better from here. Who knows?
Yeah, the title is far too more interesting than the movie, like Trick or Treats. Yeah. Like,
there's
I don't know what they were going for with that. It certainly wasn't made clear in the movie.
Yeah, there's no treats in this movie, and after you watch it, you feel like you've been tricked. So there you have it. So, yeah, how about we just go and get this over with? We've got to try to find something to talk about for this one. So why don't we just dig in? Mike, you can kick us off. What did you like about this movie?
The first thing that made me laugh out loud, like, I realized, like, they had to be going for a comedy or they were failing as a horror, was right off the bat, this guy's reading the newspaper, and his wife answers the door, and there's these two men in white, which, right off the bat, like, if you're any movie savvy, you know that they're either milkmen or they're from the loony bin. And they come to, I don't know, arrest or pick up people. I'm pretty sure courts are involved when someone gets committed, but apparently you can just do it at home. They'll just come pick them up. They come to arrest, or what would the word be, Sheldon? It's not arrest.
No, well, I had this in my dislikes category. We had the same thing, but in different categories, because that opening scene, that can't be the process when it comes to committing someone to an asylum.
It was so
that can't be how it
hilarious.
Works.
They try to arrest this guy. He ends up chasing them. Like, at first I think, like, he's acting normally. Like, why are you in my house? Why are you trying to take me? Like, who are you people? And then he starts, like trying to attack them with his newspaper. And he's like, no!
Yes.
And then
a chase scene ensues
he
that
tries
could
to
not
climb
have been...
a tree.
A chase scene ensues that could not have been more ridiculous if they were playing yakety sax over the whole thing. And like I said, this can't be how it works, really. Like, a couple of big guys just show up at your door and throw you into a straitjacket and cart you away?
No, I'm pretty sure courts get involved somehow.
Yeah, there's some kind of like psychic evaluation involved. There's no, it was just right off the bat. I just said, like, okay, so whoever wrote this has no idea how like.
What the reason it makes it, like, not only did it make me laugh my ass off, but it had Chekhov's pool. They showed the pool. They used the pool. He tries to climb up. He tries to climb up a tree. They pull him down. He like shoves one of the interns into the pool, and then like doesn't he try to like get into the pool to get away from them, or does he fall in? And then they end up fishing him out, and I think like he rolls like one of the interns back into the pool, and he's like, no, no.
Yeah.
I was serious.
Did I honestly say, I want to just go back to like 2 minutes ago, did I honestly say like before somebody gets committed to an asylum there has to be some kind of psychic evaluation? I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Of course I meant psychiatric evaluation, but I'm an idiot and it's late. Shut up.
I sense you're about to lose your mind.
Yeah, I do see your point. Like, it is funny, but it's funny because I honestly think that whoever wrote this scene thinks that this is how somebody gets thrown to an asylum. Somebody just like, your husband or wife can just call and say, oh, I think my husband's crazy. And like, they'll just send a couple of guys to your door to bring you in.
Yeah, no process, no confirmation, no evaluations. They'll just like, oh, he's crazy? Well, we can't have those people out on the street for one more second. We need to get there ASAP and take him in the funniest, clumsiest way possible.
Oh my god.
I was seriously waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and just be like, how'd you go in there?
And one of the guys that tried to put him in the straitjacket, he actually, when he kicks him into the pool, the guy almost does like a full-on backflip. It's just...
It's like, it doesn't matter how good of a ninja you are already over the pool and you're in free fall. You can't ninja your way out of this.
This scene was just complete insanity. I was losing my shit when I was watching it. I was like, I don't know whether to laugh or be angry. I think I was a little more angry because, like I said, if it was done for a comedic effect, fine. But I honestly think that the people that made this movie is so stupid, they actually think that's what happens.
It's like they were watching it's like they got all their influences from poorly written 50s and 60s variety show sketches. That would describe the writing influence for everything in this movie.
This scene wouldn't have been any more ridiculous if one of them had like a huge butterfly net that he was chasing the guy around with.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it is the movie. You know what? You got watch this movie, guys. The movie is worth it just for this scene alone, and you get it within like the first 3 minutes. So, and honestly, it goes downhill from there. But so that takes the first thing off your likes list and the first thing off my dislikes list.
Well, we're entering this. We're entering October with efficiency.
Oh wow. Okay, so
let's see if one of these things ends up on my dislikes list. Let's get some parody up in this bitch.
My likes list, dude, this was actually pretty hard. I guess the premise of the movie is actually pretty good. It reminded me of an old-fashioned, not an old-fashioned Halloween movie, but it reminded me like the setting where 90% of the movie takes place in the house that the girl is babysitting in. The house itself reminded me of like some of my first Halloweens, like being a little kid. The cheesy 80s decorations, some of the costumes that the trick-or-treaters showed up wearing. It reminded me of an old-fashioned Halloween, and this movie might be okay as a Halloween night popcorn flick. If you're not paying too much attention to it, like you're just staying at home and you have to get up every 5 minutes to answer the door and give the trick-or-treater some candy or something.
If you just want something in the background so that you're not completely bored, but nothing that would keep you too engaged where you get irritated with the constant interruptions.
Like, it's one of these movies that you don't care if you miss like a minute here and there
because you're really not going to
you're not going to miss any vital plot points or anything. Is this a good thing for a likes list? I say the movie is so lame that it doesn't matter if you miss it or not, and that's a good thing.
It's a movie where you can like watch it in 1 or 2 minute chunks and miss every 30 seconds in between.
It would be good to put on like on your TV at a Halloween party when everyone's actually enjoying the party. And you could just turn the volume down and just let it play, because anytime someone looks over the scene, at least they may see like a house decorated for Halloween and some kids wearing costumes and stuff. So it may look like a little Halloween montage or something. Wow, that's lame.
This genuinely had me fucking rip-roaring laughing. Are you good?
Yeah, that's going to count as a like. I'm going to say it's a like. So yeah.
Okay, a second like for me is the mental hospital. The first week we get introduced to it without a storm warning underneath, so that's good.
That's good. I mean, yeah, that's that. It's a step. It is a step up from the first movie we've watched since we've been doing this show that involved an insane asylum. So
they did give us a time leap cue, but it was an actual interstitial several years later, and then boom, we get the insane asylum. No beeping. That's a plus. And then the lunatics inside were just like, it's like someone just said, all right, everybody, act goofy.
Yes.
And it's like a bunch of people from the 60s or 70s who are just like, oh, all right, I'm gonna be a goof.
It's like nobody there was an actual actor. You just got this bunch of people off the street and say, okay, put on this gown. You're gonna be not an inmate, I guess, a patient in an insane asylum, not an inmate. But when I call action, you just act insane. And all of a sudden, everybody just decides that, oh, this is how you act insane. They go bananas. People are jumping around. They're making random sounds. I swear to God, I'm hearing sounds like... Any type of, like, just the most...
Cartoon Looney Tunes. That's what it is. Exactly. Like, they just, like, every person drew their inspiration from either watching, like the Dodo from Wacky Land or Daffy Duck.
Yeah, it is what stupid people think insane people act like.
Yeah, anybody who has no concept of mental illness at all, they just think, oh, I want to act like a person with a disability. Okay.
Everybody was acting the way that was acting crazy, the way that Homer went crazy in the Shinning episode. You know? Don't mind if I do.
It's like masterpiece of shit theater.
Oh yeah.
But it still makes a like, because when Malcolm is having a conversation with one of his chess buddies, a guy behind him is like sewing him up from behind, and I just couldn't stop laughing. He was right behind him, like grabbing a thread, pulling it, grabbing a thread, pulling it. Like, he just committed to that bit perfectly. He was like virtually undetected.
There's so much stuff going on in this scene. It's amazing. Oh my God. You know what? I changed my mind. I love this movie. This is the best movie ever, because I'm just thinking about this one random scene and I'm cracking up.
It has no plot, no design, but you will be laughing at every scene. This is like Roger Ebert's career. It is failing upwards.
This is a movie that if me and you found, like, went to somebody's basement and found a camcorder with some film in it and we decided we're going to make our own horror movie, this is what we would end up with.
If we were making a horror movie back when we were like 10 years old, before any type of, research or, emotional sensitivity or understanding of any mental illness, like, we would just be like, okay, it's in a loony asylum. Here we go.
Exactly. Oh.
This would be like 10-year-old Mike and Sheldon.
Definitely.
if we had a camcorder.
Oh, no, that is absolutely right. Like, that is it wrong? Like, what we're liking about this movie so far is like how bad it is.
How it's failing to grasp any realism or respectability.
Okay, so
second like.
My second and last, unless I think of something else. I may think of something else before we're finished, but I liked, this is a specific scene, and it only lasted a couple minutes, but I thought it was great because it was just so ridiculous. I liked the movie within the movie. I can't remember what it was called or even if it was actually ever said, But you get to see a scene from a film that some friends of the babysitter are editing. It looks like the cheesiest movie ever, but at least you can tell at least this one is being intentionally awful. Like they're hamming it up on purpose.
Oh yeah, just in case you thought this movie wasn't slow enough, we get treated to a distracting scene of these two chicks in an editing bay talking about a movie, and then like they're just like going into this meta thing where they're basically flipping off the audience. Yeah. Talking about, this is one of those cheesy horror pictures. You know, people will just swallow all that garbage.
Because first of all, there's no point for the scene because you don't see these two girls afterwards. Do you? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. That's it. They're in that scene and they're done. So
no,
the babysitter.
One of them is in the movie and she gets killed.
Oh, why do
one of them is the only kill. One of those girls is the only kill in this movie.
You're right. Yeah. But still, yeah, you're absolutely right. But still, this scene it has no purpose because they could have just popped in any scene where she calls her friends and asks them to come over.
Yeah, it could have been a phone call. No need to explain who this girl is, what her job is, who she works with. She just picks up the phone. Hey, can you deliver this? Yeah, sure, done. No, we get treated to 10 minutes of what the fuck theater.
It just turns into this 10-minute scene of these two girls talking about how stupid horror movies are. And how everybody loves them anyway, despite it doesn't matter how gory they get. All these weirdos are gonna like watch them. So I'm like, hey,
and no one gives credit to the editor.
Yeah, no one ever gives credit to the editor. That's right. I knew you would be personally offended by that. But this movie. So when you get to this scene, they're editing a movie, and they say, "Oh, the scene is ready. Do you want to take a look?" And we actually get to see like a 2-3 minute scene from this horror movie inside the horror movie, and like I said, it's awful, but they're being intentionally cheesy, and that's what makes it good. Honestly, I think I would rather watch that movie. If I wish we could have seen the whole thing. This scene, there's a decapitated head that's probably the best prop in the entire movie. And like, I would much rather watch this. I'm pretty sure that it may actually be a porno, but if we got to see more of it, but
oh yeah, where she's just like, here's the head doctor. I really thought he was going to pull out like a cigar, wiggle his eyebrows and go, no you damn, I'm the head doctor, waka waka waka.
But yeah, to me, I actually did like that, and I'm like, it has no purpose, it sticks out so badly, but I'm so glad they put this in there.
Oh, you're burying the lead, Sheldon. Who the fuck is this guy operating? Like, it's a Frankenstein thing, but he's dressed as a vampire. Mm-hmm. Like, he's Count Drakenstein.
Yeah, dressed as a vampire. The scene is like straight out of Frankenstein. And he's got the whole mad scientist thing going on.
Yeah, we got like beakers and shit bubbling in the background.
Of course, like the most like low budget, stereotypical like mad scientist setup that you could imagine. It looks like something that like would have been done in like a junior high school play or something.
Oh yeah, and he's like, oh yes, the connection. The arms are thoroughly connected, and he pulls out what appears to be like lock cutters.
Yeah,
and he's using this to connect. Oh my gosh, this is
we need to
like,
get
off of this.
We need some kind of tool for this mad scientist to use, and someone just goes, oh, here you go, thank you, whatever these are, we'll use these. Like,
yeah, it was
nobody in that scene knew what bolt cutters actually are.
We're dancing on the what the fuck line without even getting to the dislikes yet, so
yeah,
we're just gonna reverse this sublimation and get back to the likes.
Yeah, so that was my like. Even though it stuck out like a sore thumb, I actually did enjoy that scene. I played it back a couple of times, so
it was ostensibly better than what existed in that world.
Absolutely.
And I've got like a bunch of quick likes.
Okay.
So it'll be like bop bop bop. But the last major like is the kid. I mean, like, he's played off as an annoying, shitty asshole, which he is. But this kid, he is Wednesday and Pugsley Addams wrapped in one. He has a pinball machine in his own room. he found it easier to get between Linda's legs than his stepdad did. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just got these comeback lines, like when the babysitter tries to chase him up the stairs and she trips or something. He's like standing at the top and he goes like, "Sucker!" And then she tells him something like, "You stop playing these pranks or I'm going to take you to bed now." And he says, "That's the best offer I've had all day."
Oh my God, this kid.
And then she goes, "You understand, like the boy who cried wolf?" She explains, like, people will come running when the boy cried wolf. And then she explains, like, "Oh no, you got to gain people's trust and all that." Like, she explains it thoroughly, but as she walks away, he says, "Wolf, wolf." Just like, come after me, babe. Like, this kid is a fucking playboy motherfucker.
No, man, this kid was a piece of shit. Come on.
And then he's got like he's setting her up with like a false chair, smoke bombs everywhere he goes. He is a fucking ninja. He's got smoke bombs all over the place. And then he like pretends to drown himself so that she can kiss him, which is not how CPR works.
No.
And then when she goes into the kitchen, he's like, "How about pouring me that wine?" Like, I just love this kid. He is just like a fucking pervy 10-year-old, which he shouldn't be, but he's got like a big personality.
Yeah. I hate the kid, but like, oh my God, I will say one of the things I like is that I don't know how old this kid was, like 7, 8 years old. If I was that age and I had all the stuff that he had, like all these like ridiculous like practical joke devices, all these tricks and all the props and everything he had, I would be in fucking heaven.
Oh yeah, I want to be this kid.
That would have been so up my alley when I was that age.
I just wonder if Kevin McAllister was influenced by this kid.
Ooh, man, you know what? That is a good point. Mike, that's a good point.
Oh my God, Home Alone was the Christmas version of Trick or Treats.
This may have been the inspiration for Home Alone.
Oh my God, that's like the second major inspiration. The biggest one, which will shock the fuck out of you, is coming up, but it's not in the likes column. Mm-hmm. So, rapid fire likes was that when the man escapes from the insane asylum, he has got the funniest friggin' escape plan ever. He gets this guy to snore loud so that no one can hear him ambush the nurse, who apparently gets horny off the ether. Because as he pulls her into the bed, she's just like, "Oh, oh, oh."
Well, that's disturbing.
Like, she is fucking into it.
Oh, yeah. That was the most action that either one of them has gotten in a long time.
Oh, yeah. And then the guy, he dresses up as the nurse to escape. And he's just like, he doesn't ditch the costume afterwards. He stays in the outfit several times, just like walking around, and people are like, "Howdy, ma'am," and he's not even trying to like raise his voice. He is just fucking.
And
like
luckily, this nurse that he decided, luckily for him, the nurse that he knocked out to steal her clothes happened to be wearing a wig as well. So
yeah, I mean, what the fuck? Why would you wear a wig to work?
Well, I mean...
And, oh my God, the interview with this lady afterwards, this whole thing was a fucking shit show. Like, the nurses obviously got this look on her face, like this was the best fucking time in her life, and she can't wait to tell everybody how off she got when that ether hit her lungs. Oh, and then
yeah.
a lady shows up with a tampon up her nose. I think it's a tampon.
Oh, the direction for this is that once the interview is over, everybody just go fucking nuts.
Who does an interview in the common room of an asylum?
I tried to escape once and he knocked out all my teeth.
Oh, and when the guy, he tries to ambush some bums because apparently he needs to upgrade from a nurse's uniform to some transient clothing. Yeah, so he rolls a bunch of bums for their clothes. The best part is he takes off the gown and he's got her bra on.
He's wearing
and the guys are looking at him. He's like, "What, you never seen tits before?"
Oh my God, this movie is insane. This is one of the crazy. And first of all, I'm like, why are you taking these bum clothes to blend in? For like, it's Halloween, man. There's gonna be so many people like looking much stranger than you are. It's
I guess he got tired of people hitting on him.
maybe, I guess, but like, Jesus Christ, like this.
When he was walking around in that uniform, I nicknamed him Ernest Dragnine. And then the final, like, was, well, the fact that this movie is a poorly lit Benny Hill sketch. In the end credits has an excellent song. And I really thought it was David Bowie that sang it. Because it sounded so Bowie-esque. But no, it was done by some band called Horizon, which apparently, like, they took the best direction than anybody else did in this movie. Because the guy said, sound like David Bowie. And they're like, okay. And they just fucking nailed this song. And that ends my likes.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I couldn't think of anything else. I was trying to think of stuff like just the general craziness of this movie. Like we said, like the scenes, so many things in the movie will make you laugh like hysterically just because it is so insane. And all the scenes in the insane asylum are like freaking spectacular. It is some of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, and you just can't help but laugh at it. It's not something you'd want to revisit again, but like for the first time you're seeing it, holy shit.
It's beautiful chaos.
Okay, so for dislikes, I already got one knocked off the dislike column because, we had your first like was my first dislike. So do you want to go jump in?
Okay, well, a big dislike is Linda covering the goods. Because she takes her first phone call in the shower with a semi-see-through curtain so you could tell she's topless, but you can't see anything. Yeah.
Now, I was pretty young, but I was around in the 80s. I don't remember anyone having a phone in their shower.
It's like the phone has to be like on the toilet tank because like she can reach it while in the shower.
Yeah. I mean, not that it wouldn't be convenient,
the shower's still running while she's talking. Like, if that doesn't sound terrible to the guy on the other end.
Yeah, that was weird. That was as soon as we got to that scene, I'm like, oh, there's a shower scene. We're gonna see some of this gratuitous '80s nudity, but nope, didn't see anything. And then the phone rings. I'm thinking like, oh, she's gonna have to get out of the shower to answer the phone. Nope, she just picks it up in the shower.
Yeah, I'm on my shower phone. And the next call she gets, she's got a towel on. And she's like got this look on her face like she's annoyed, like she wants to get out of the towel. But like I can't get out of the towel while I'm on the phone. Like she expresses modesty during this phone call. Completely forgetting I was in the fucking shower.
You'll have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Yeah, so this pissed me off. Like, the credits weren't even worth mentioning. They were too mediocre to get a mention. And there was no tits in this movie. So, this, Ivan, I remember you. You said, like, you wanted to have an episode where I didn't, like, mention any of this. Well, that's as close as you're going to get.
Shout out to our buddy Ivan for that one.
So, what's your next dislike?
Oh, my God. Fuck, this movie was annoying. Everybody in this movie bothered me. The characters were all awful. The acting was terrible. David Carradine and Carrie Snodgrass were the best actors in this thing, and you could tell that they could not care less about being there.
David Carradine. That wasn't the same Carradine who did Kung Fu?
It certainly is.
Oh my God, Kwai Kang was a fucking douche in this movie.
Yep. Bill himself was in this, and you could tell he could not wait to get his scenes finished and just get the fuck out of there.
He had no presence in whatever he was doing, but his character was such a shit, hitting on the babysitter while the lady is like within earshot,
and not just flirting either. He was going to go in for it, like started unzipping her clothes.
Yeah, he was like full on like fucking creep.
Like, this was sexual assault. Like, there's this is not like just flirting or hitting on somebody. This was like full on, like, he grabbed her clothes and started trying to take them off.
And his way of bragging to try to impress her was telling her how he had the previous owner falsely committed.
Yep.
I guess you like a man with it who takes initiative, hey doll.
Yeah. Oh, he was a total. He wasn't in the movie for long, but he made it pretty clear what kind of a douchebag he was.
It's like, what's the matter? Don't you like to party with a grabby douche?
So.
And the wife walks in and she just like taps her cane like, oh, hey, we're gonna be late. Like, she just fucking knows this shit. I thought for a second that she was gonna move in, like that they were both like sexual predators, and that they were both gonna ambush this babysitter and have like some weird Paul Bernardo, Carla Homolka shit going on.
Really. Yeah, that whole scene was creepy, but yeah, and here this is not like, it's related to the movie, but not what we're talking about.
Okay.
The house that 99% of this movie takes place in actually belonged to Carrie Snodgrass. It was her house, her actual house, and
that explains why the budget was only $50,000.
Yeah, so they're pretty much like, oh, we need a house to film, and she was like, hey, $2,000, you can film at my place. So that was just everything was terrible in this movie when it came to the actors. The acting was bad. All the characters were all pieces of crap. I didn't like anybody. So there's a dislike.
Oh yeah, and in that same vein of like terrible direction, like we touched on it before in our likes, like with the Insane Asylum, just like, okay, everybody act like a goof, and they just basically channeled Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies characters. Mm-hmm. And then when it came to one of the pranks this kid pulled, like pretending he drowned in the pool, this like is a strong dislike. The babysitter pulls him out, like compresses his stomach, not his lungs, his stomach, and then she makes out with him. Yeah. Seriously, she doesn't like plug his nose, blow air into his mouth. She just like presses her hands against both of his cheeks and like just digs and like smushes her lips on him for like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like thank God this kid was faking it, because he'd be dead. She's fucking terrible.
Well, that's the thing, too. This is something that bugs me about a lot of movies, because this is a common thing. This is not the first time we've seen this, where someone pretends to drown so that, someone will try to give them mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and they end up making out with them. People that write this doesn't know how, like, CPR works, because when somebody pins your nose and starts blowing into your mouth, you're not going to try to make out with them. You're going to start, if you're conscious, you're going to start gagging.
Yeah, it fucks up your breathing and makes you cough, which is like what you need to do, because you need to get the water out of your lungs.
Exactly. That's the whole reason why you do that. But
it's like, oh no, she's just like, 1, 2.
So ridiculous.
Like fucking 10 seconds of like...
Whoever wrote this movie has no idea how anything works.
Not a fucking thing. Like, whoever directed this movie or wrote this probably also is the guys in those infomercial ads where they're like, has this ever happened to you? Oh fuck, I can't even hold my remote properly. If only I had one remote so I wouldn't have to juggle all these remotes.
Yeah. I tried to take a bowl down from the cabinet, and now I'm on fire.
I just tried to get a glass of milk, and now I've cleared out the entire upper level of my fridge on the floor. Oh, if only there was a better way.
There is. It's called not being an idiot.
Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you.
Yeah, so... No, totally agree. That was an absolutely just such a stupid scene. And you knew what was going to happen. You knew... As soon as you saw it, you knew this kid wasn't drowning.
Yeah, he was angling for a kiss, but I wasn't expecting her to be so fucking infuriatingly awful.
Okay, so do you have anything else for your dislikes?
All I have here as my note is, do you know when a door isn't a door? When a stressed out babysitter leaves it ajar.
Yeah. It is, Yeah, I think you messaged me about that, and I didn't notice it the first time, so I actually had to go back and just play the scene, and you're absolutely right. She just She opens the door, looks outside, and then walks away from it.
You know, if you have much experience with doors in your life, you know that they make contact with something, you feel resistance, and you hear like a chunk sound as the mechanism closes. You know how doors work? She doesn't. She doesn't know how CPR works. She doesn't know how doors work. She even like fucks up going up the stairs. Like she just fucking collapses, and it's not like halfway up the stairs. It's like the second she's not on the floor, she's on her knees. Like, ah, fuck, ah.
No, you're right.
Oh my god. So what's your next dislike?
You know what? I had something else, but I think I'm going to keep it for like a little later on. So if you got another dislike, go for it.
Okay. Alright, so we've established this shitty editing scene, and then the babysitter calls and says, like, hey, can you leave one of the reels? I don't know why she needs the reel. I think she wants to, like, look over some shit, which means, like, she would need a projector, which, why would she expect a projector at the house she's babysitting at instead of her own home? I don't fucking know.
Well, I you know what? There's this kid. Is not brought up in the movie, but I guarantee you this kid has a projector. He has everything else, Mike. Come on. He's got a projector somewhere.
I can't imagine you being wrong on that.
No.
Still, she's like assuming this without asking him, so bad exposition on their part. So she calls her friend over and says like, hey, can you deliver my shit? And then she's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm passing through that place on my way back home. And she goes into the house, which I guess because she left the door open. And then we've established that Malcolm, who after taking the homeless clothes and getting a carving knife from the kitchen, like, he's in the house. He's been making these annoying calls and somehow has never picked up that that's not his wife's voice on the phone. And so he's in the house, and you know, when an hour has passed into this movie and a busty blonde walks into an unlit home with a maniac inside, and you're actually thinking she's going to make it out alive, you have failed as a horror film.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, you walk in the house, if nobody's there, just leave the reel on like the living room coffee table, and just like, best part, go into the kitchen and like grab a notepad and say, no one was here, here's the thing, enjoy, and just fuck off. She explores the kitchen. She goes up to one room, she goes into other bedrooms, she goes like exploring like the crawl space in the fucking basement, I don't know. And that's when she's in the basement, and that's when she encounters Malcolm, who clumsily kills her. And like, this woman has been walking around the house announcing herself, saying like, hey, Joan, are you there? Oh, no, not Joan. Linda, are you there? Linda, is anybody there? Come on, this isn't funny. Like, she is giving on full sentences. Then Malcolm knifes her in the basement, and then he's like, you're not Joan. What did he fucking say?
Oh, I can't.
Because he said something stupid.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're not Joan. Oh, what did I do? And then he continues to lurk around the house instead of realizing, like, oh fuck, I killed someone. Maybe I should give up on this shit. Like, I've goofed. I definitely belong in an asylum now. Like, he thought that this was Linda, despite her constantly talking, and not realizing, oh, this is not my ex-wife's voice.
Yep.
That was just fucking terrible. And then when he lurks through the house again, he sees his son sleeping. He doesn't like try to wake him up, make any contact with him, and be like, hey, sport, like, can you leave the house so that like I don't accidentally kill you since I have sound blindness?
Well, this is something for my dislikes. Like, you've just reminded me of this, because we were laughing at, first of all, about the scene when he first gets committed. Like, there's like, what we're made to think is that, oh, he's been wrongfully committed to an insane asylum. Like, this is just a revenge thing, because in this world, apparently all you need to do to commit somebody is call the asylum, and it'll just send a couple of goons over at your house to take you in. So we're thinking like, oh, they did something, at least, like, we didn't see it happen, but they've done something so that he got wrongly committed to an insane asylum. And
yeah, we're expecting like faulty paper, like phony
something,
paperwork.
Yeah, something happened here. Something fraudulent went on. Like, I can understand the concept where, like, you know, okay, he got wrongly committed, and now he's going to escape and try to get his revenge on the people that wronged him. Okay, sure. But he's in the first when we see him in the asylum, the doctor comes talking to him and he's like, "Hey doctor, when am I getting out of here?" Because he's trying to say like I'm not insane. And he's like, "Oh, the doctor soon." And then we get a conversation between the doctor and a nurse, and she's like, "Doctor, why'd you tell him that? Like he's obviously out of his mind." And like, what? What is going on there?
He hasn't acted insane at this point. Like, he still seems like a rational guy.
The only time that he flipped out is when these two people tried to throw him in a straitjacket. The whole yakety sack scene we talked about earlier.
Yeah, two strangers attacked me in my home and kidnapped me.
Of course, you're going to flip out if that happens. And yeah, but then he's like, he seems like he's fine. That he's just acting like you would, and until he escapes. When he gets out of the insane asylum, that's all of a sudden when he starts acting completely cuckoo.
It's like, I'm gonna get you, Joan.
Like I said, it's just, I don't know. The people writing this thing didn't know what direction to take, how they were doing it. They started off with like a wrong, which should be like a wrongful incarceration, and it turns into a revenge movie. But then it turns into just like a straight up like psychopath movie.
Yeah, if he kills them, he'll still be insane. You'd think that he'd be like trying to like garner a confession out of them, or like I don't know, like hit like the city hall or something, look for the paperwork, like, you know, try to exonerate himself. No, he's just like, yeah. I'm gonna prove my sanity by killing you all.
Yes. Okay, there you go. I'm back on board with hating this movie again. I went from like I hate this movie till like I'm laughing my ass off. I love this movie. This is the best thing ever. Now I hate it again. So
I killed all my accusers. Therefore, I am sane.
Yes, we've come full circle. So did you have anything else for the dislikes, or can we move on to the next segment?
Yeah, my last dislike is like the fact that he never acknowledges his son or makes like any gestures to contact him, speak with him. He sees the kid in the home, but he's sneaking around him as if he is a stranger. And when he does like try to kill the babysitter in front of the kid, like he never says like, "Stay back, son." The son doesn't say dad. There is no establishing connection that these people are family.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they absolutely do have the same last name in the credits.
Exactly.
He's not the stepdad's kid.
No. Well, I mean, because they said like this kid is about what, 8 years old?
And he looks like a carbon copy of his dad.
Yeah. And the opening scene, when he gets taken away, when it jumps forward, they say it's 5 years later.
Yeah.
And so this kid would have at least been like 2 or 3 years old. So I can understand the kid is not going to maybe not recognize that this is his dad, but you would think that he would recognize the kid at least and like acknowledge that that's his son. So, yeah, that was just, maybe it's just because they decided to actually make him insane, so maybe that's why. But I don't know. Yeah,
I'm gonna completely forget that I have a child.
It was stupid. Whatever the case is, it's just insane.
I'm ready to wrap this up with the what the fucks.
Yeah, let's go to what the fucks. And we talked about this earlier, and I think we're in agreement that the what the fuck for this movie is the entire last scene. So, because first of all, we see earlier that this kid has one of the pranks that he pulls on a babysitter is that he pretends to cut his own head off with a prop guillotine.
That's how he introduces himself.
Yeah, it looks like a homemade job, right? Like it doesn't look like something he bought at like a prop store or anything. It looks like it could have been something that somebody just made themselves as like a Halloween prop or something. But so he goes through this when he introduced himself by, she walks into his room. He got his head in the guillotine and he pulls a string. The blade drops on his head and he starts spitting blood out of his mouth. But then we see, it's just a prop because the blade didn't actually go through his neck or anything.
There was like a stopper on it so that it never reached his neck.
Yeah. I was like, haha, fake blade with a stop.
Except we first see that before he meets the babysitter, we see him test the guillotine on a watermelon.
Yes! It's a real guillotine! At least, like, it's real in the sense that it actually has like a sharp blade that's capable of slicing through something.
It's not even like a plastic blade or anything. It is fucking real.
It's capable of killing somebody because that's how they killed his father, the crazy guy.
It's Chekhov's guillotine. You show the guillotine, you gotta use the guillotine.
that the father bursts in through the door trying to grab the babysitter and awkwardly somehow like actually sticks his head into the guillotine.
Yeah, she runs around the guillotine. He tries to go through the guillotine.
Because that would be the path of least resistance instead of walking around it.
Yeah, that would have thrown the whole plan off guard if he's just like, I'm going to avoid this sharp blade that's above my head, so, fuck that noise.
You try to crawl through an opening that's like barely big enough for me to fit my head through.
Yeah, I can like throw my arm through it and like slash like Wendy Torrance.
And so he sticks his head in the guillotine, the kid pulls the string, the blade falls and slices into his neck.
Doesn't take his head off,
and
though.
Kills him. It doesn't take his head off, but it does the job. It kills him.
Yeah.
Once again confirming that, yes, this fucking kid has an actual, real, functioning guillotine in his bedroom.
His parents are fucking horrible. He's got a pinball machine in his room. I mean, how fucking noisy does that have to be when you're in the next room? Like, boom, 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 boom.
You imagine being 8 years old. You go to, you get invited to, one of your friends invites you over to his house, like after school, and you go to his house, you go upstairs to his room, and he starts showing you his stuff. It's like, oh yeah, here's my G.I. Joes, here's my Transformers, here's my guillotine. And yeah, it's real, so be careful with the blade. It's sharp.
Look at this watermelon. So,
like, what else is there? Here's my Uzi, and here's my chainsaw. Right here, I've got.
We used to have a cat, but I used her to test the guillotine before we got watermelons.
We have a cat. I have a cat. You want to see my pet cat? There's some of it right there, and here's some of it over here.
Oh,
that was, oh my god, total insanity. And it doesn't stop there, because what happens, Mike? After this should end the movie. The guy that the writers decided was actually insane and a killer is dead. He's done.
The kid and the babysitter and Pugs Day Adams, as I'm going to call him now, they have like this heart-to-heart moment where we barely escaped death. I'm not going to play pranks on you anymore. This is, we're just going to like hang out, watch a movie. Like, again, like not call the cops or anything, but we're just...
Well, she heads out to call the cops. That's what she says. I had to go call the police. And he actually says to her, oh, I'm sorry for pulling all those pranks on you. No more pranks for me.
Yeah, so then he decides no more pranks. And then he picks up the knife that his dad dropped and looks at it, and it's almost as if the spirit of the knife possesses him, because he gets this look on his face. Like, he looks out the door down the stairs as if like, I know what the knife needs to do. And as she's on the phone, he jumps up from behind the couch, and in slow motion, it fades out as he's dropping the knife down. Like, completely unbidden. Like, you think this kid's just like he's like a puckish little joy? No. Not only is he a spoiled brat with a fucking functioning guillotine like a serial killer, turns out he also wants to kill somebody like a serial killer. Out of completely... This isn't left field. This is like left of the fucking city. We're out of the baseball stadium here.
Oh, yeah. The scene... Yes, this movie ends with the son picking up his now dead dad knife, and it ends on a freeze frame of him jumping up from behind a couch and about to plunge the knife into the babysitter's
Yeah, fuck
back.
Pranks. Now I'm just going to murder you, even though you saved my life and have been trying to teach me valuable lessons in a non-violent fashion. Like, this kid has no reason to have this level of aggression towards the babysitter. I mean, like, he's been preying on her throughout this entire movie and decides to reward her with, I'm just going to outright fucking murder you.
Yep. Totally. Just out of nowhere. No. It's just craziness. So, yeah, that is Trick or Treats. When you're looking up this movie, because you know what, even though we bash this thing, you gotta see it. I totally recommend that everybody see it. It's 95 minutes, so it's not like it's going to take up a lot of time out of your life.
Although you will spend a few more minutes than that, like just pausing it and rewinding it just to make sure, did I really fucking see that? Did he just walk out of a room like holding a knife above his head with nobody in the room, just walking around with a knife. Like, did the father just walk around with a knife over his head like Mike Strauber? Just walk around with the knife over your fucking head, ready to plunge it into somebody, because that's what you do. And then you will also probably rewind it to make sure, did he really, like, walk into the bus and tell them where he wants to go? As if the bus doesn't have a predetermined route? And then the guy tells him, oh, that'd be like $5.50. Like, do the buses charge you depending on where you want to go? Like cabs?
Mike, I've been saying this entire episode. Whoever wrote this movie has no idea how anything works. That they think like a bus is a taxi cab. They think it works on the same premise. You just get on the bus and tell the driver where you want to go, and he tell you how much it costs.
In advance, despite the fact that cabs will only charge you. They'll only know what the fare is by the time they get there, because they have to account for like red lights and shit like that. Like, nobody knows how anything happens here. Voices?
Check.
What? What voices?
Yeah. Guys, just check the movie out. When you look it up, make sure it Trick or Treats, and you're going to find out during this month that there's a lot of similarly named movies. But Trick or Treats 1982, you'll find it. Just watch it and let us know what you think. So, Mike, like, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it again, I really do believe that my favorite part of this movie was the scene that we saw in the editing room. That is by far my favorite part. I honestly would have loved to have seen, like, more of this, or at least figured out how this came to be, why they decided to drop this in. Because it just comes out of nowhere. Like, there's no real point of it. They could have set up this scene to get this girl to come to the house anyway at all. They didn't have to go through this big elaborate like editing room scene. But I'm glad he did, because I loved it.
I'm surprised they didn't have like one of the orderlies coming into the house looking for him, like Dr. Loomis style.
Yeah. So,
yeah, like there was so much about this movie in a movie, which would probably be just as bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, if you're curious about it, I actually did do a little research, called some of my connects to see what they could find out, and they actually sent me some footage, and it turns out that there is a story behind this one scene that we get to see of this fake movie.
Yeah, because you can just imagine, like, everything about this is so bizarre, hammy, terrible. Like what would constitute as a screw up in this movie?
Well, that's the thing. That's part of this scene's origin, because believe it or not, this movie Trick or Treats was the producers, or the directors I should say, second attempt of making a horror movie. The reason why we see this scene is that is the only scene that ever got completed of his first attempt at a horror movie. Because apparently there was so much trouble with one of the actors that he just gave up on the idea, and a couple of years later decided to try it again, and that's what we end up getting Trick or Treats. But since he did have the footage of that one scene, he decided to at least get it out there so some people could see it, and just plopped it in as a part of a fake movie.
You've made it, so you might as well use it.
Exactly. And luckily for me, like I said, cashed in some favors with my connects, and I have the footage right here.
Well then, I guess we have our submission for It Came from the Cutting Room Floor.
Okay, and action!
Blah, the arms are well connected.
Cut! What the fuck is that?
What?
Oh, I don't know where to start. What is the blah shit?
Well, look at the cape I'm wearing. I'm a vampire scientist, aren't I?
1, he's American. 2, he's a count, not a vampire.
Oh, okay.
And action!
Yes, the arms are, well, sorry, cut.
What?
Is the audience to believe that I just connected these arms with bolt cutters?
I know. The prop guy came in drunk and then fucked off. We're gonna have to sell it.
Well, okay.
Okay, and action!
Here's the head doctor. Nah, you dizzy dame, I'm the head doctor.
Oh, what? What was that?
Well, it's a corny B-pick, so I just played it up. I mean, come on, I just asked her for some head. Is this a stretch?
There's subtlety in comedy. Try again. Okay. And action!
You're in my light. Wait, what light? This room is dark.
Look, we'll add it in post, okay? Keep going.
Okay.
Cut! What the fucking hell are you doing?
Well, I'm pantomiming that I'm sewing the neck closed.
Just throw the sheet off the creature so he can look at you.
So the neck just snaps on then?
Look, just throw the sheet back. We can work on post shots to make sense out of it. We just need the main scene, and it's almost midnight.
Now you, who has derided your superior, and you who denied the virtue of transcendental medicine. I'm sorry, cut.
What?
Okay, why is he browbeating his assistants who are helping him like they're sabotaging him? And there's no such thing as transcendental medication, it's just meditation.
I can't believe I passed on Peter Vincent for this guy. Wow. So, yeah, Mike, after listening to that, you can tell why he did not continue, like, he decided to scrap this movie.
To think someone else that we already know could have been in this movie, like, what could have been? It may have actually been presentable if he had, like, just the right actor. He may have secured funding to finish it.
But that's a pretty trippy thought, because now you think about it, this movie exists in the same universe that the original Fright Night takes place in.
It's a small, fucked up world.
It sure is.
Well, before we finish, I have, like, one... I don't know if it's a theory or an observation, but it falls into my kill of the week.
Oh, yeah, I'm curious about this one because, correct me if I'm wrong, you have only one option. Well, no, actually you don't. That's not true. You have multiple options. Yes.
Editor girl, the dad, and the babysitter for no fucking apparent reason at the end.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty safe to assume that she's dead.
Yeah, although, again, completely out of left field, so I have to say the best kill goes to Malcolm, because he goes through the guillotine, he goes through this narrow passage trying to kill our hero, and then this thing drops on his head as he gargles and chokes on his blood with his last breath. And you know what I realized? This movie came out in 1982. Return of the Jedi came out in 1983. Star Wars ripped off the Rancor death from this movie.
Oh my god. That is... Yeah, that is very similar, like the same type of process. Wow. Hey man, I love a good Star Wars reference, so, you know, good for you.
I felt particularly proud when I made that observation. It's like, oh fuck, Rancor. And this was 82. He preceded, or maybe even inspired the Rancor scene.
All right, man, good one, Mike.
I try.
Yeah, that was definitely the best kill. Like I said, twice in this episode alone, I forgot about the girl dying, so it wasn't a very memorable kill. So that is great. So yeah, that is all the movie coverage we have for you. Once again, like I said, this one is called Trick or Treats from 1982. If you're going to try to look it up, make sure you search that exactly. That's important. That's the only way you're going to find it. And let us know what you think of it. We definitely want to hear from you, and you have a few ways of doing that. You can reach out to us by email at graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can get us on Twitter at GYS_horrorpod. And you can get us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. Guys, if you want to support the show monetarily, you can do that. It's very easy. You can just go to patreon.com/graveyard. If you make a financial donation, it gives you access to our Patreon exclusive content. We have some bonus episodes there to listen to that only you Patreon members can get access to. We post a new one each month. Sometimes it's something completely separate from our normal format like we do here where we cover a movie. Sometimes we just talk about some other stuff involving horror, like what our favorite horror movies are, things like that. And sometimes it's an extended version, an uncut extended version of our regular episode. And of course, we completely understand if you can't make a financial donation. You know, not everyone has the money to give us money, but you can still help us out a ton by, first of all, you can go on to iTunes, rate, review, subscribe, or you can go on Google Play and Stitcher and do the same thing there. Honestly, that is what helps us the most in the long run. A nice subscribe, give us a nice review. And guys, honestly, just do it that way. That's a great way to support us. And if none of those ways are possible, just keep doing like you're doing now. Listen to us every week, whichever method you do it now. If it's from our Facebook or Twitter page, from the Podbean page or app, just keep doing it. Share the episodes, word of mouth, whatever. We really appreciate everything you do for us.
Tell everybody that we're the new Fangoria.
Yeah, Fangoria's having a little bit of trouble, so, you know.
Those suckers are played out. They lost their audience. They lost the essence of, like, the story and the horror, man. They lost respect for the art.
Okay, calm down, Mike.
And we never claimed to have any to begin with, so what can we lose what we don't have?
Hey, I've got a copy of Fangoria that's one of my most cherished possessions. It is one with Tom Savini on the cover that I actually got autographed by him when I met him at a Comic-Con a few years ago, so fuck you.
Okay, fuck new Fangoria then. Whatever Fangoria is now, they suck, we rock. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever they were in the past, well, that was the past, this is now.
Yeah. And, Mike, I also want to mention, if people want to hear more of you, because who doesn't want more Mike, how would they go about doing that?
Well, if you like Nintendo Power Magazine and not Fangoria Magazine, you can listen to me and my buddies read each and every issue back front to back, or back to front if we want to do like a dyslexic episode, like some weird Tarantino episode, which would be a horrible idea for a podcast. But, you know, I'm not above horrible ideas if they're funny.
Obviously not.
And then we also do on that very same... Okay. Oh, no, I never named it. Playing with Power, the Nintendo
yeah, that might
Power-based
be important.
podcast.
Actually tell people what it's called. So.
You can find the website playingwithpowerpodcast.com. And in that feed was also a little show I do now and then with skits called The Taste Test, where we play Nintendo games or Nintendo Entertainment System style or Nintendo Entertainment era games. Like some Sega Master Drive games now and then, but mostly Nintendo. And that's me, Brendan Boswell, and Ivan K., who is a fan of this show. He's recently joined us as like an apprentice. And we just play amazing games and give our reviews and stories about them. And coming up will be the Nintendo Power Pad. Did you ever play that?
I have, actually.
Well, we're going to talk about it and all the games that came with it.
Cool. And now with the NES Classic Edition and the SNES Classic Edition that just came out, all these Nintendo Power magazines are all relevant again.
Hey, hopefully.
So yeah, check it out, guys. If you're a fan of old school video games and you had a subscription to Nintendo Power back in the day, you're gonna like this one. This is actually the how me and Mike met in the first place, and so we owe this podcast to that podcast. So nice little bit of synergy there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that is all the movie coverage that we have. We're done with this episode, except for one thing. Mike, we got to give away a prize, dude.
Oh shit! The prize thing, the Pennywise thing.
Yes. For those of you that have been listening, back on September 11th, we actually went out and saw the new It movie. We did a bonus episode where we reviewed it, and we announced that if you message us through email, Facebook, or Twitter, the word Pennywise, we're going to enter you into a draw for a Pennywise Funko Pop figure. This is completely free. Guys, thank you so much for everyone that entered the contest. And our Patreon supporters, you're in there twice if you messaged us, because if you're a Patreon member, your name automatically went into the draw. And if you messaged us with the word Pennywise, you went in again. So, our Patreon supporters, a little extra bonus for your supporting us with your dollars. You get to enter this draw twice, so you got a little bit of an advantage. But so we need to do this. Yeah, let's get this done, and so we can find out who's getting the prize. I'm very excited. So first of all, we did make sure that we use a lot of security for this. We collected all the names, wrote them down on a piece of paper, names of everyone that entered the contest, and we kept them in our graveyard shift high security vault, which we keep downstairs. So, Mike, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, get your key. Let's, first of all, head downstairs. Here we go. Okay, so first of all is the handprint scan and retina scan. Okay, so now we got to remember, we got to turn the key at the same time to open the door. So
hold on a sec, I have to stop seeing dots. That scanner was really wow.
Well, don't press your eye directly onto it. Just just look into it. That's all you have to do.
Okay, I'll remember that next time.
I don't know why you got to make everything so difficult. Okay. So, all right, insert your key, and on the count of 3, we have to turn it at the same time. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Okay, now I'll just walk into the vault, and let's see what we got here. Why do we have so much junk in here? Okay, oh, here's the bag, names. Okay, I got them. All right, here we go, and now walk into the vault, go back upstairs. Okay. So, you want to do the honors, or shall I?
I still can't read yet, so you do it.
Okay, I'll just go for it. All right, I'll give this a little shake. Very exciting. Okay, and here we go. Are you ready, Mike? The winner of our Pennywise Funko Pop giveaway is Arlene M.
Ba-ba-ba-ba!
One of our Patreon supporters.
Woohoo!
Oh, wow. Okay. So, Arlene, thank you so much. Congratulations. You are the winner of our very first giveaway. Email us or email Twitter. Send us a message somehow. You know how to get in contact with us. Even if it's on Patreon. Get us your mailing address so we can get this sent out to you as soon as possible. Guys, congratulations to Arlene. And guys, thank you all so much for everyone that participated in this draw. This is our very first giveaway, and I don't think it's going to be our last. But stay tuned for future giveaways, because that was actually pretty fun. I like doing that.
And what was her name? Arlene?
Yes.
Well, if you live in the UK, congratulations, you just wiped out our Patreon account. Because that shipping is going to be a mother.
Oh, yeah, that will take... Yep, that just wiped out everything we've collected in Patreon. So...
Well, this was a good... We had a good run, and... well, apparently we can't afford to keep the lights on if you live in the UK, so it's up to you. Are you going to kill the podcast, Arlene? Do you want us to die? Do you want our children to starve?
Can you still send things COD? Maybe that's an option. We'll see how badly she wants this. And but this is great. Oh my God! Like, this is such a good way to start off our very first October episode. Guys, we got more stuff coming up for the month of October. We're going to have a very special Patreon episode coming up for you Patreon supporters like Arlene. And we've got a special episode where we're going to be joined by some of our friends to talk about not just Halloween movies, but just some of our favorite Halloween things, like our must-watch movies, but also some TV shows that we like, just stuff that is what makes Halloween for us. That is, a bonus episode for everybody. That's going to be besides the rest of our movie coverage. We've still got all the other 3 parts of Halloween that's not Halloween, and so, we're just very excited. We're horror fans, so we're obviously big Halloween fans, and yeah, now I'm rambling because I'm just pumped.
Because not only does she get the Pennywise Funko Pop, but she also gets to hear the Halloween that is Halloween.
Yes, that is what we're doing. I forgot for a moment what we're doing for our Patreon. We're actually, for our Patreon bonus, we actually are going to review the first 2 Halloween movies and talk about those and why we like them so much. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm actually looking forward to watching these again. But guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed our very first Halloween episode, and there's lots more to come. So just come back next time and join us on the Graveyard Shift. Until then, I'm Sheldon.
And I'm Mike.
Nurse, give me head.